everybody. Welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee.
I'm Z Garcia.
And I'm Wendy Yee.
Today we're talking about a little game here called The Wolves. This is a game about wolves.
Did you just laugh at me for howling at the moon?
You did not howl at the moon. That was kind of a whimper.
That bright light is a moon.
Z, show her how you howl.
I'm going to show you how it's done. Let's take a look. Ow! Yes! Here's what the game looks like set up for 3 players. I've got the wolves laid down on their sides here so that you can more easily see them. And we are ready to go. I'm going to be playing here the Rocky Wolves, these purple ones. And we begin with everything set up as you see here. What we are trying to do is get the most victory points. I'm going to do that by controlling regions when scoring comes around. And we'll do the crescent moon here first. These are randomly put out, these. But it'll be this region and that region first. Then it'll be these half moons. And then lastly, the 2 full moon regions there. And we'll score those. Whoever has control in those regions will get 8 points, for example, for these. Second place gets 4. And you can flip this over and just keep that. Second place can take it from over here. All right? So that's one main way to get victory points in the game. You can also score victory points from hunting these animals, putting that prey on your player board and getting some victory points from that, and from leveling up, putting out your dens, putting out your layers and such things. All of these pieces have area control values towards scoring these moon phases, okay? All the wolves are 1. You've got 2 kinds, alpha wolves and then just the wolf pack little dudes there. They're all 1 strength. Your dens are worth 1. That's these little dens here. And then you've got these layers that are upgraded from dens. And these are 3 towards controlling areas. All right. So let me go ahead and take you through a turn, what a turn might look like, and the actions that the players can take. So the move action is the first one. It allows me to move my wolves. I'm going to pick one of these up here, pick a region I want to go to, and flip over a tile that matches that region. Now I can move a number of wolves up to my pack spread, which right now is 2, but as I put out more dens will increase. And I can move each one of those as far as my wolf speed, which again is 3, but will go up as I improve those. So I could, for example, take these wolves right here, one of those. I want to go there, let's say. Well, I can flip this over and move this wolf here, 1, 2, 3. And I could move another wolf, 1, 2, 3, like so. So there we go. That's my first action. Second action I could do would be building a den. I could build a den. To put out a den, I need 2 matching pieces. And I need to pick one from the 3 areas here and put it next to one of my alpha wolves. So right now I don't have it, but let's say my board looked like this. I could choose to put out a den, and I would do it from, I don't know, let's say my wolf speed next to this alpha wolf right in there. And I'll set that on its side also so you can see it. And then I'll flip over these 2 tiles like so. Now I have some control in that area as well as a den there. And I've increased my my abilities a little bit. All right. Let me put that back. There we go. Then another thing I can do is I can put out a layer. To increase a den into a layer, it must be next to a water source. That means the water source in the center, or these are water sources here. And that'll cost me 2 as well. And I would take this, remove it, and put one of these in its place. Now, every time anything is removed from the board, I'm going to put it over here on this calendar. That includes these when they get upgraded. That includes these lone wolves that we can howl at and convert. I'll get to that in 1 second. This comes off and goes here. And as this is filled, we are going to be triggering the scoring. First for these half moons. In this case, for 3 players, it would happen here. And then for 3 players, here and here again. So that's how that goes. So let's go ahead and talk about that howling, as I was saying. Let's say I want to convert this lone wolf into one of my own wolves, of which I have a reserve right here, okay? I need to howl at that wolf and turn it into one of mine, add it to my pack. I need to howl from an alpha wolf, and my howl range is right here. Right now it's 2. So actually that works. 1, 2, there. I do need to flip over 2 cards, though, that match the region in which that wolf currently is. Another thing I should explain now is that every type of wolf comes with one terrain type that they always have access to. And this one's double-sided to denote that, okay? So if my board looks like this, and I just flipped that one over for the example, I could flip over these 2. This one flips and becomes that. This one you could flip, but it's the same. And then I'm going to take this guy, like I said, he does move over here, and I take my next wolf, whatever it is, I have to do these in order, and it goes in that spot. And you get some victory points. You start unlocking victory points. Eventually you get another alpha, and then another alpha yet again down here. So that's how you can howl and make some new wolves. The final action here costs 3, and that is dominate. That is going to let you take over somebody else's wolf or somebody else's den, but it's going to cost you 3 of the same type. So it's very tricky, and you would have to do, something like this, boom, 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 and then you could do so. A way to get around not having the necessary things is by utilizing one of these wild tokens. You can always cash this in if you have one, and it counts as any land type you want. So you can consider that a second or a third one you flipped over, and you simply discard that token. You earn those from putting out these layers. You are also going to, as you hunt, earn these extra action tokens, and hunting is an automatic thing that happens if you have enough wolves around one of these hunting spots. It's just going to happen automatically. Now, you cannot hunt the same kind of thing more than once, so I'll take this token, I'll put it right here, and I am going to earn one of these extra action tokens that I can utilize whenever I want to take a third action on my turn. And now these wolves ideally will move around and go hunt somewhere else so I can get a different animal and keep filling this up both for that reward and victory points across the bottom. So that is generally what is happening. You're also unlocking some special abilities if you put out enough layers. Once you put out this third one, you get a wild. Once you put out the 5th one, extra action token. And that's true for all 3 of these abilities that you have. So that's the idea. Again, anything that is removed from the board ends up going over here. If you take over an opponent's wolf with this dominate action, their wolf comes off, goes over here, and then you put out one of your own color, right? And the triggering of the scoring will happen that way as you work towards the conclusion. Once the third scoring for the 2 full moons takes place, then the game is over and we see who's got the most victory points. This board size will be different based on the player count, but generally all the mechanisms remain the same. So there you go. Hopefully that makes some sense. Let's go ahead and go back up top.
All right, so you can see from the overview that's it's a mix of area majority with kind of this little tile flipping thing here. As a lot of games we talk about first, kind of the aesthetic, the components and everything, I think I'm the person here that likes this cover the least. I think both of you like it.
I like it.
Yeah,
I think it's
I like
cool.
it. It's very cool.
It kind of gives me the 3 Wolf Moon t-shirt kind of vibe a little bit. It's a little bit, there's wolves forward.
I definitely feel like wolves were very unpopular when I was in high school, and somehow they've made a resurgence.
Like the animal
Like
wolf.
wearing wolves, yeah.
Kinda
Yeah, it's like a
became
thing that's okay now, but it wasn't. It was definitely not okay for a while.
I never heard of this. Okay.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
I realized wolves were not okay to
They were
wear.
not cool for a while. If you had a t-shirt with 3 wolves on it howling at a moon, you were not cool.
You were not cool.
Got it.
This explains why no one talked to you for that 5
Yeah,
years.
I only had one shirt, and it was a wolf-themed shirt.
Our daughter has a wolf backpack, so
Got
it's
it.
cool now.
Yeah. So the cover didn't grab me, the theme didn't grab me, but I think that the aesthetics, the look of this is really good. I like the components. I don't know, any thoughts on all that?
I like the look. I like the cover. I like what's going on. I like the size of the box, and I like the theme. I also then realized, the theme isn't really in here. This is a very abstracted game.
It's more abstract than I expected.
Yeah.
I was expecting area control, and I was expecting not to enjoy the game, but I surprisingly liked it more than I thought.
Yeah, I like it, but
didn't love it,
it's not. And again, anything that is about like, oh, you have a pack of wolves and you are taking over area, and I'm like, okay, sure, that will be abstracted. Every game is abstracted. I didn't realize it would be this abstracted. This idea of flipping over the cards to match landscapes,
terrains and stuff.
It doesn't make one lick of sense. I mean, nothing. And then moving them around. There is a little bit of like the howling at another wolf, and bam, that's your wolf now. Mm-hmm. I guess. Maybe.
Hey, want to join my pack? You know.
Right. I mean, maybe. I don't know
Pack
exactly
magic.
how wolves work, but yeah, I thought it was really abstracted, detrimentally so, a little bit.
Okay, because I really liked the little flippy tile thing. I enjoyed that process, especially being able to read the other players at the table. Because the stealing other people's wolves, I thought I was going to hate that mechanism, but it's very hard to do.
Yeah.
And you can kind of look ahead at least a little bit. Obviously, when there's more players, that's harder to do. But you can look ahead a little bit and see, like, okay, it's not possible for the person near my wolf that I'm trying to create to steal it from me this next round. So I can make it and I can move it later. And so I don't know, I really enjoyed that process.
The little puzzling of it.
Yeah.
As on a component note, one thing I'm really grateful about is that the terrain types look distinct without looking gaudy. You know, it's not one of those maps you look at, you know, like Kingdom Builder. You're like, flower region. You know, like they
Yellow,
look
green,
like,
brown, white.
They look like landscapes,
Yeah.
but also when you have those tiles in front of you and the other players at the table, you're not sitting there, oh, which one is that?
Yeah, I agree.
I think it has a good, clean look. I like the pieces a lot. The little wolf meeples are great. You can tell the alpha from the little pack wolves very easily. You can tell which regions are going to score. I think it's an easy game to visually take in. And if it was harder, it would make it really fiddly and annoying. But I agree. I really like that little terrain flipping kind of mechanism. It's abstract as all get out.
Yeah, it is.
It's 0% thematic. The wolves are like, we've done too much in tundra today. Time to switch to forest for a little while.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm not sure what it's even supposed to represent exactly. You have your type, which you always have access to flipping that, and then the other ones, which become a different thing after you utilize them. It doesn't really make any sense. And I don't know if that was the best delivery system for being able to manipulate wolves on this board. I find it might be a little sort of analysis paralysis prone. This idea of like, okay, wait, what I really want to do is this thing over here that takes 3. So in order to get to that, I need to flip this one over. Why? I don't know. I'll do this. There. Now I can do what I actually wanted to.
Right, I'll move a wolf a space over.
Yeah,
so now it's
just so I can do the thing I actually wanted to do. And so puzzling that out and it being open in front of you also means other players who are mentally faster than you can look at you and go, that one, just flip that one over. There, that's what you're looking to do. So I can see that being frustrating.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, so I enjoyed that puzzle because other than stealing other people's stuff, which I don't really enjoy in games anyways, other than that, all the actions only cost 2. And so I appreciate that even if I have 2 showing and I want these other 2 showing, there's usually a level 2 action that I can do, some sort of upgrade of a sort, or moving a wolf to an area that's better. Like, I feel like there's always something worthwhile to do to get me to where I want to do my big move.
Yeah.
And so I like that.
I think the areas where the theme does shine through a little bit for me is I like hunting the animals, right? You surround it with the 3 wolves, bam, get that thing, right? And you want variety. The fact that you can't eat 2 moose does feel a little bit board game restriction. Kind of like the flipping the tiles is like 0% theme, all just board game restriction. But I do like the hunting. I do like getting the extra wolves, the wolf packs. The bigger your pack of wolves is, the more you unlock, the more points you get, but you want a bigger pack. So some of those things do shine through for me.
I think my favorite thing about it is that the game has an arc. I think you are doing very different things at the beginning than you are doing at the end. At the beginning, you're spreading out, you're hunting those animals, you are barely unlocking a couple of things. And then you have a mid game, and then you have a late game in which you have alphas going for other packs, locking down some of those end game bonuses. I like that. The game does have an arc. You're not doing... Because the animals will dry up, right? The ones you're attacking on the board. They go away, and you need to move on to something else. If you're still doing that while other players have moved on, you're sort of behind the curve a little bit.
Yeah.
And I really like that there is an evolution to that. There is a cadence you ideally are keeping up with, or you are becoming prey to other people, showing up and being like, that wolf is mine now.
How do you feel about the tiles that matter changing?
That was going to be my exact question.
Okay.
Do you like the fact that these two tiles score for the first third of the game, and they'll never score again? Then these ones, and then these ones.
It's open information. So that's fine, I guess. You know what I mean? Again, it's kind of gamey, but it also means you need to move. It forces the players to explore, to move around, to, on my way to this area, maybe I'll hit this up over here and go like kind of the long way and then make it up here and try to lock that down so I score. Yeah, I don't mind that. That one felt natural.
Okay.
I like it. I think that you have to make decisions of, am I going to build those larger, what are they called, dens, caves?
Layers.
The layers, yeah.
A den to
the
a
larger
layer.
layers, they're worth so much more for area majority. So I think that you have to make those decisions early on. Am I going to fight for these early regions that are worth a little bit less, or am I going to wait? Am I going to start working towards layers on these bigger endgame regions? So I appreciate that it's a little bit of everybody going for the exact same things, but then you can pivot from that because things are worth more later on.
Right.
So we don't all have to go for the exact same things.
Yeah.
All right. I think that we should just go now into final thoughts then.
We didn't
scoring.
mention engine building. I thought the engine building was super cool.
Oh, that's true.
As you lay out the dens, you get to choose, what am I going to level up? My spidey sense goes farther, or my...
That's what it is. Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Wolves have
or I
great
can
spidey
move
sense.
more wolves or whatever. Like, I liked that a lot, just being able to choose what things
Yeah.
I want to focus in on. And they're worth points as you move them up higher and stuff.
You get those bonus tokens as well, which
Yeah.
can really come in handy, which can kind of slow down a little bit for the analysis
Yeah.
paralysis.
Well, there was one of them that was really confusing. I forget which one it was that people just kept having a hard time with. I can't remember, and also they're called kind of slightly weird things like pack spread. Wolf speed, sure, I got that. Howl range is how far away you can be and sort of like
Howl, but also
like
done.
tag you way across
Yeah.
the map.
Yeah.
They're a little tricky, the things they're called, and to internalize what they mean, which one you should look at when you're trying to do something on the board. You're like, wait, what? That's the spread? Yeah, that's the spread. That's a weird name for that.
They
Okay.
describe it on there, though,
They
right?
do, and this is
I
actually
appreciate
really
that.
well done. I think these
Yeah.
boards are great.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They don't need to be dual layer, right? I know someone's going to say, oh, it's their dual layer. Well, you pick a thing off of there every once in a while.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
okay.
I think
fine.
the components are actually really great. That said, why don't we go into final thoughts then?
Okay.
Well, why don't we start with Wendy?
Sure. I was really surprised that I enjoyed this. I'm going to give this a 7. I am going to recommend it because it's not just area majority. There's a lot of interesting other things going on. There's a way less attacking and stealing than I thought initially, and so that's what I was worried about. But instead, I really enjoy the mechanics of the flipping of the tiles, of that engine building and deciding, hey, am I going to focus really hard into being able to move lots of wolves, or am I going to be able to do other things with my wolves, but maybe not get as many points from upgrading those specialties? I like the bonus actions and the wild tile tokens that you can get also from upgrading. I think there's just some really interesting stuff going on, and it surprised me. Genuinely surprised me.
Very cool. Z.
I'm also giving it a 7. I like I said, that the game has an evolution to it, that you're doing different things towards the end than you were doing at the beginning. I like also feeling like I'm better halfway through the game than I was at the beginning, better at the end of the game than I was halfway through the game. And unlocking all these things and leveling things up will do that. And you can target whatever you want, right? I plan to take over wolves at the end. So guess what? My howl range, boom, that's going way up. So I can shout across the tundra. I want to spread, so I'm going to do that. I don't care for that one, so I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to focus on this instead. I like that. Yes, the game is pretty mechanical. It's also not that heavy, though. It's not that complicated.
Yeah.
And I think games that get lost from their theme, the more complex and heavy that game is, the more that hurts for me. In this one, while I very quickly lose sight of what flipping over the stuff is supposed to mean, It's also pretty easy to keep straight. So yeah, I think it's a fun one. 7 for me.
Very cool. 7.5 for me because I think that I enjoy the theme a little bit more than you two do. It comes through a bit more for me. I think it's a lot of fun. I like area majority as a mechanism when it's done well. And I think that one of the things that you said kind of nails it for me is that there's a natural kind of migration to the board. I think that's cool because I'm used to games, every region scores every round or something like that. There's something a bit unique about this that you have to spread. And I think that works for me with this kind of natural wolf theme. There we go. I'll speak with more exactitude. I like hunting. This one could go up higher for me. I wish I liked the 2-player very much. We tried this 2-player, and it's definitely more cutthroat feeling because every point that you don't get is the equivalent of your opponent getting a point. I think if I liked it with 2 players, then it might even go higher than a 7.5 for me. That could change with time, but I really like this one. I definitely do recommend it.
Yeah.
So there you go. That is The Wolves from Panasaurus Games. Until next time, my name is Chris Yee.
I'm Z Garcia.
And I'm Wendy Yee.
How?
Guys. Okay.
Ooh, that was nasty.
You're like multi-toning there.
I was.
That was weird, yeah. I was like, what?
Splitting his vocal cords into 2.
That was crazy.